Hey, Devin Rose here, Lionheart Catholic. Let's talk universal basic income and whether that is something that Catholics should support. We have an interesting turn of events where you have Pope Francis talking about a universal basic income of some kind. Now, depending on which Catholic article you read, I trust the Catholic World Report more than, say, America Magazine. You'll get a different view of what he actually said. So he was addressing some world meeting of popular movement. So it's social justice workers that he's been addressing for a number of years. They had to kind of have a virtual meeting, or their meeting was canceled. So he sent them a letter. And it actually seems as if Pope Francis was saying, let's have a salario universal, a minimum salary that would be guaranteed for the social justice workers, not for actually all the poor people, but for the social justice warriors who he is addressing here, right, directly. So that's a strange thing. Now, then the media, of course, runs with it and says Pope Francis ponders universal basic income during, this crisis. And that's not exactly what he said. Now, is what he said problematic enough? Like, why should these people get a universal basic income? Oh, it was because they're doing essential work of social justice. I agree with what Catholic World Report here says, and that's the answer is actually subsidiarity and healthy markets. Remember, subsidiarity is solving the problem at the lowest level possible, right? So healthy markets, prosperous economy, this is actually the engine that produces prosperity. Printing money produces no prosperity. The government produces no prosperity. Printing money simply devalues the currency, punishes savers, and it's a burden on us and our children as taxpayers for the next rest of our lives. There's no free lunch, right? And that's what he's saying here. Now, why is this important? Well, what do we have? We've got lawmakers, of course, they're Democrats, calling for universal basic income. So we've had multiple proposals here, $1,000 a month to every American till COVID-19 no longer presents a health emergency. Well, what could that be? That could be in a year. That could be in 5 years. That's subject to interpretation. Other ones, they were calling for $2,000 a month. And this was 1,000 to 6,000, over a third of Americans who earn less than this amount, until the unemployment gets back to the level that it was before, which is very low historically, at least as they report the number. Well, how long? That could be 10 years. It could be 20 years. So really, this is all kind of Trojan horse to be able to get in these a very socialist agenda. We as Catholics should oppose this. We should oppose universal basic income and bills like this as Catholics. What can you do? Well, you can write to your congressman. I wrote to my 2 state senators and to my House of Representatives in the U.S. House, my rep, and said, please oppose all universal basic income bills, anything like this, even if they're trying to anchor, and make an extreme proposal, these Democrats. That way, they want to get something, maybe not the extreme that they're asking for, but maybe they can get something, right, in negotiation. No, don't disallow it at all. This is, very, very dangerous, and it doesn't ultimately help. It's simply robbing us even more. What we need is healthy, free markets, and the more that there's intervention by Federal Reserve and other central banks, the more the market is manipulated, the more that the allocation of capital is not good or accurate. It gets distorted because people try to really gamify what is happening from the Federal Reserve. And instead, then, because you have that misallocation of resources, you actually don't get a healthy economy. You get a less healthy economy, one that's more stagnant, less dynamic, and ultimately that's then less opportunity for all of us. So this is happening right now. I've been sharing this already with my Lionheart Catholic members. So every week I actually do a video, and I go into a lot more detail on how, well, what types of things should you look to invest in, and to protect your savings and your hard-earned labor and money during this time, right? This is a huge wealth transfer that's being started right now. And it's going from middle class, lower class to the super wealthy. But you can do things to protect yourself. So we talk about land and gardens and Bitcoin and gold. We talk about savings and what you can do to get through this time and even potentially prosper. Also, even entrepreneurial business opportunities that could come up as a result of this crisis. Right? There's going to be a lot of changes and differences. There's going to be opportunities there as certain things look to be more online, etc. And we discuss how you can turn that to your advantage. All right, so this is Devin Rose with Lionheart Catholic. I've got a link to my book here, How to Become a Saint in These Dark Times. God bless.